Hello friends, bigstupidgrin here, and today we are checking out the state of the best urchin investigator you can play, Wendy Adams, June 2019 edition. I gave her stats a B+. Aside from Dunwich investigators, her 7-7 split in health and sanity is ideal to me. She isn't vulnerable to damage or horror-heavy situations. I prefer characters who min-max their 4 skills, and Wendy is that kind of investigator. 4 willpower and 4 agility is great against most encounter decks. The 3 investigate is better than you might think due to her ability in card pool. The 1 in fight isn't completely negligible, however. Several enemies can just hard counter her, and her selection of event damage and later the bow aren't perfect answers. This limits her ceiling in solo. There will be scenarios where this is a non-issue, and Wendy plays like a superheroine. There are times, however, where you need help killing, and even enemies like rats can be annoying. Wendy might have the worst Elder Sign in the game. Without her amulet, it does nothing, and even with the amulet out, it's not going to affect many tests. However, Wendy is easily one of the best abilities in the game. Each time you fail a test, you can discard a card to retake it. You don't have to suffer any punishments from the first test. It's like you never took it. Looking at the odds, the second attempt raises your chances to succeed dramatically. It's about the same as giving yourself +2 to a skill. Even tests at +0 can have a good chance to succeed if you have a card to discard. For this chart, we used the Dunwich standard bag, and the last number is the infamous gambling test in House Always Wins. Wendy has a potentially devastating signature weakness. Drawn late into a scenario, it has a chance to outright drive you insane, as the horror is direct. And being set up for Wendy's amulet can be spoiled by Abandonment Alone's other effects of removing your discard pile from the game. The original amulet, this card is just as impressive as Wendy's ability and works very well with it. You can discard events to retake tests, then play the events later. You can also discard events to give you or others skill icons as well. This gives events extra flexibility and makes some situational events even better because of it. One interesting interaction with the amulet are events that attach to locations, then go to the discard pile. This gets around the amulet's effect of putting played events in the bottom of your draw deck. One of my favorite interactions with the amulet is Live and Learn. You can take a test normally, then discard Live and Learn to take the test with Wendy's ability, and then play Live and Learn from the discard pile using the amulet to take a test a third time at +2. Wendy has a pretty good card pool for what she does best. She has access to all Survivor cards, all neutral cards, and Rogue cards 0 to 2. Unless you're willing to spend 6 resources on Leo, ally selection at 0 XP is a little bit limited. Outside of the ornate bow, her weapon choices are pretty bad too. That makes sense given her low attack, and she should probably never have perfect killing answers anyways. What Survivor and Rogue can really excel at is playing with agility. At level 0, she can grab track shoes, Peter Silvestri, and trench coat to raise her agility even more. And with track shoes, they can quickly lead to a mostly reliable Pathfinder effect. Rogue helps this once you have EXP to spend. Lockpicks, of course, turns everyone into a decent clue getter. With no additional help, Wendy investigates at a 7 skill with them. Cat Burglar is one of the most underrated allies in the game. I love how its move action comes with no strings attached. You can get away from elite enemies with this, and if needed, move to connecting locations with enemies in them. The Rogue Tarot card is an option if you want to raise her agility even higher. Agility can be used as a killing weapon. Sneak attack is an inefficient way to deal 2 damage. It's better in multiplayer situations where you can contribute to a group effort of killing something. Backstab is a staple event in Wendy, made much better with her ability to retake tests and her amulet there to pick it up from the discard pile. Waylay is great for high attack, low evade enemies. The bow is okay, having to reload it is often a pain. Besides the previously mentioned Live and Learn, Wendy has access to Survivor Staples such as Lucky and Look What I Found. Rabbit's Foot is an option for card draw, although I personally would rather run Lucky Cigarette Case. If you want to try the Succeed by Failing theme, Rabbit's Foot is there for you. Leather Coat and Cherished Keepsakes are great defensive options at 0 cost. and cards like Scavenging and Resourceful can help them keep coming back. From the taboo list, Scrapper doesn't make much sense for her, but Elusive does. Elusive being one of the best events in the game, it's often worth the extra 2 experience if you run with taboo rules. Wendy has a decent time getting extra resources. If you're playing solo or with one more player, Lone Wolf is overpowered. Drawing Thin and Take Heart can compound the Succeed by Failing theme, and Watch This gets extra help from Wendy's ability to retake failed tests. Taking this to extremes, she has access to the great but expensive Leo DeLuca, as well as newcomers Well-Connected, Money Talks, and Cunning. I'm not sure if a rich Wendy deck, which feels like just Preston with better stats, works, but it has plenty of support at the 0 XP level. Rogue cards provide a lot of utility for Wendy as well. Liquid Courage works great with Wendy's willpower and can help a group of Investigator with high willpower as well. Swift Reflexes should be a great alternative addition to Manual Dexterity, since it also has 2 agility icons. Intel Report threatens to be overpowered with its flexibility and test-free clue gathering, and especially multiplayer where you may be asked to repeatedly evade some enemies, you might as well pickpocket them as well. And in a pinch, you can flee trouble with I'm Out of Here, and you handle this one. Adaptal is another one of my personal favorites, allowing you to retool according to upcoming scenarios or around experience purchases. The Obel is there if you're a madman, and the Skeleton key is fantastic in 3 to 4 player settings, where you have high shroud locations with 3 to 4 clues per investigator, and you really want to pass those tests. Spending XP in Survivor comes down to Exile and upgrades. Upgraded Peter is a solid choice, and Rabbit's Foot 3 combos very nicely with Drawing Thin and Take Heart. Upgraded Aquina is an option against high attack boss enemies, and Newspaper 2 is very nice according to scenarios. Tarot is a relatively new addition to the game. Wendy has access to 3 of the tarot cards. The Rogue and Neutral tarot cards are very nice, but I don't think 5 of Pentacles is good enough for people outside of Calvin. Anna Kaslo has been spoiled. It's not that Anna Kaslo, it's this Anna Kaslo. Costing 3 resources and 4 XP. She's great on the opening draw, but is very expensive and not great if you can't get her in your opening hand. This probably limits her to Sefina at the moment, who gets to look at 13 cards in her opening hand, whereas everyone else can only look at 10 with full mulligans. If there is a home for Relic Hunter, I think Wendy may be worth a look. Her events don't really need upgrading, which is the heart of her deck. At 0 XP and with experience, she has access to many good cards with the accessory slot, not to mention her amulet. Speaking of events, one high XP event that every Survivor/Lola Hayes player should look at is Will to Survive. It can mean 3 automatically successful skill tests, and even more with Leo DeLuca, Swift Reflexes, or Ace of Rods. Ace of Rods plus Will to Survive, plus something like the baseball bat or old hunting rifle. It's probably not great, but it's cute at the very least. On Your Own is an interesting option. By forsaking an ally, you get a reduced cost on events. Even with Wendy's share of allies and Wendy's penchant for playing events, I'd rather just go with Peter Silvestri. Maybe a future investigator can use On Your Own better, or I'm sleeping on the card. Rogue has some decent event options past 0 XP. Hot Streak 2 is there for the Wendy Moneybags idea I just made up. Sneak Attack 2 is okay for a multiplayer game. I really like Emergency Cash 3 for multiplayer games, however. It has the flexibility to really help multiple people. Overall, I believe Wendy is great in multiplayer and good solo, most of the time. Her shortcomings aren't highlighted in a scenario, she's great. In multiplayer, she can just concentrate on doing what she does best, and is usually low maintenance. Just include one investigator that can actually kill enemies. I've included 4 example decks this time around. For solo, this list is fairly vanilla, but also taking advantage of Wendy's agility. It spends experience on pickpocketing, ornate bows, and lockpicks in order to fully take advantage of that agility. The multiplayer deck is playing on the Relic Hunter. I didn't crop that correctly, but on the right there, just assume I'm running Relic Hunter. It runs Cherished Keepsake, Lucky Cigarette Case, and later Rabbit's Foot 3, all in that Relic slot. Wendy makes Chaos bag tests significantly easier. She has great defensive stats. Her card pool can throw her towards card draw, a massive agility stat, gathering clues, and lots of situational events which are made much better due to her ability and the amulet. She's a great team player and really, really good solo if you can avoid her big weakness. And however, her personal weakness, Abandoned One, can be a real killer. Anyway, that's my look at Wendy Adams in June 2019. It'll be interesting to see what cards she gets in upcoming sets. If the Moneybags Wendy idea gets more traction, or if she's just going to refine her deck with slightly better events and slightly better assets. Anyway, I'm Big Stupid Grin. Hope this was informative and or entertaining. And until next time, have a good one.